Okay, the next thing we're going to do now that we have the bag put together, that's the front, that's the back. Open it up with our flap. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to put the hardware on. And later on what I would do is I would do a video on nothing but hardware, how to install different types of hardware. Most of it are pretty similar to each other, because if you notice they both have these prongs on it, so which will go in right here. Same thing with this one, it will go right here. And the same on the back. If you notice, there's 2 screws for each one. And if you take the screw off, if I take the screws out, I always like to put some type of cloth down to protect the hardware from getting scratched up. Just take these 2 little screws out. Once you take the screws out, and always put the screws somewhere where they're safe to keep you from losing them, because they're very small. So I'm just going to put mine here inside of this case. This is the back of the hardware, this is the front of the hardware. It will go on here, and this will go on from this side. But what I will do, I will determine where I want to put my hardware. And it's up to you where you put it. I can put it here, I can put it here, over on this side. But what I'm going to do is sort of center it up. And I don't want to be too close to my edges. See, I don't want the hardware to be too close to the edges. So what I will do, I will make sure that I'm at least 1/4 inch from my stitch. So what I'll do, I'll determine where I'm going to put my hardware. So I decide I'm going to put it right here. I'll just put a pencil mark right in the center of where I'm going to put the hardware, just so I'll have some type of guideline of where I want to put it. So I'll take my hardware, lay my bag out. Okay, now I will take the hardware, I will place it on top, and what I'm going to do is just press down to get an imprint. Okay, what I have here is a Okay, now that we have this hole cut out, what we will do now is take the hardware, place it inside like this, and then what I will do, I will put the back piece on the back side, get my screws, screw them in, now this is one piece of the hardware, this is the second piece. Now we will install the second piece. Okay, now that we have the first part of the hardware installed, the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to install the second part of the hardware, which will be this part here. Now what we could do, we could go ahead and install it, and what will happen is that when we close the bag, you won't be able to put much inside of that bag. So what I like to do, I always like to stuff the bag first. I'll stuff it, and then I will make sure that the sides are even, and I'll use these clamps to assure me of that. And then I will take the second part of the hardware and I will press down, and I will get a mark. I would take the erasable ink pen, put a mark here just so it doesn't that pressure mark doesn't disappear on me. And the next thing we're going to do is punch holes where we have the marks. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install the second part of the hardware. Take the rest of this tissue out. Now what I will do, I will use a couple of pieces of rubber mat to put inside to protect the bag from me punching a hole going through the front all the way through the back. So that pad is going to just to protect it. So what I'll do, I will punch the hole. Take my pads out, and I would take the second part of the hardware, put it through the holes that I just punched. Holes punched and the hardware in. What I would do, I would turn it over. I don't know if you can see that, but on the back side, those two prongs came all the way through. So what I would do now is I would take this washer that comes with the hardware, put it on the two prongs, and then what I will do, I will use a little short handle screwdriver, and you can use whatever works for you. And I'll put this underneath to keep from scratching the hardware, and I will bend the two prongs and what I did, I bent them outward, not in but out, so they will lay flat. And then what I will do after that is I will take a piece of the leather which is the same as the lining, and I will cut maybe a 1.5 by 1.5 piece, and then I will glue this and I will put it over the back of the second part of the hardware, and then you know what, this bag is finished. Here is the finished bag. This process is the same process if you wanted to make a little coin purse, or if you want to make a watch band, a belt. It's the same process. You're taking a primary piece of leather and a secondary piece of leather, and you're putting those together. The only thing changes is the shapes and sizes and how it closes. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that this video was able to help you understand the process of making a clutch bag. If you get a chance, visit our website, www.dallasdesigningdreams.org. Send us a message. If you see anything on our website that you would like for us to do a video on to show you how to make, just let us know and we will make a video for you. And also, pass this on to others that you know that are trying to learn how to make quality leather products. And again, thank you again for watching this video.